An arrest is made in a deadly nightclub shooting. Good evening and thank you for joining us. That shooting happened last month in Smith County. As KLTV7's Michael Richardson tells us, 23-year-old Aaron Johnson, who was injured in the shooting, now faces several felony charges, including deadly conduct.
We're going up full out to rid Tyler, Smith County of gang members and gangs.
Smith County Sheriff Larry Smith says an arrest has been made following a nightclub shooting that left one person dead. Aaron Gordon Johnson is charged with multiple third-degree felonies, including deadly conduct, tampering with physical evidence, and unlawful possession of a firearm. After the shooting, Johnson received medical care for gunshot wounds. Sheriff Smith says Johnson was arrested after he checked himself out of the hospital. Smith mentions that rival gangs were involved in the Valley Blues Club shooting, where hundreds of people were in the early hours of December 28th. According to an arrest affidavit, Johnson said West Side gang members were trying to start problems with him, adding they kept saying they were on the West. After trying to leave Valley Blues, Johnson was punched on the side of his face, which was followed by gunfire. The affidavit also mentions that Johnson shot Aaron Jackson, described as a large male with dreads. Sheriff Smith adds at least 6 firearms were used and that authorities are working to identify shell casings to move forward in the case.
If they just have a gang-related shooting or any kind of shooting where nobody else is there, they collect the shell casings and submit them. That way we can tie it back to other investigations.
Smith says more charges may be filed. Michael Richardson, KLTV7 News.
Johnson was booked into the Smith County Jail on Friday with bonds totaling $800,000.